What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back. Shout out to everybody out there, you know what I'm saying? What's going on, Ed Crew? For everybody that's supporting me, leaving likes, comments, subscribing, things like that, asking questions. Thank you for your support. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Open arms, come on in, you know what I'm saying? But welcome everybody. But yeah, so today, as you can tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about Security Forces K9 unit, or the K9 career field within security forces. A lot of people have been asking me questions about this. I said I was going to get around to it, and well, I finally got around to it. So this is basically the information that I know on my half, telling you guys about the Security Forces K9 division. I wasn't able to set up an interview with somebody that does work K9 because they all work day shift and I'm on mids, so it's very hard to do things like that, especially with all this quarantine and keeping safe distance and all of that, you know, away from each other. But basically, I was able to talk to somebody that worked in K9 one day, and actually got a story myself. So I'm gonna get into all of that. But yeah, before we do, for those of you that are new, make sure to subscribe to the channel. You know, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. Leave likes, comments, everything. Hey, you help the channel grow. It builds my motivation to help get that information back out to you guys, you feel me? So you help me, I help you. Simple as that. But yeah.
The dog's not a piece of equipment. He's not a tool. He's your partner. He's out there with you every single day that you're at work. And the more training and the more time that you spend and put towards your dog, the better you and your dog will be as a team. The minimum requirements to become a military working dog handler: you need to be a security forces member, have at least 18 months in service as an airman first class, and completed your career development courses. The dog that I have assigned to me right now, his name's Janny. He's a Dutch Shepherd. On a day-to-day basis, it's really never the same. You can be doing anything from working a checkpoint at a gate, from riding in a law enforcement patrol, or detection. Basically, we have patrol dogs and we have detection.
As you can see, like the staff sergeant said in the video, so our dogs that we have, military working dogs, they're canines. So short for military working dogs, we call them MWDs. So that's the abbreviation that we use for them. They basically work in two sections like that. This is, like he said, law enforcement and the section dogs. So basically what he means by that is, like, to be more specific and more general on that. So like so when it comes to the K9 dogs, right, you'll have dogs that are stationed at almost every base, close to almost every base, right? And those dogs, they'll have certain ones that just work on the law enforcement side and they do law enforcement stuff. And then you have section dogs, where these are dogs that are trained to like deploy and do like special jobs and things like that, right? So now, like, he didn't really talk too much about it, so that's why I'm coming and I fill in like the gaps and things like that. So like he said, minimum requirements, you gotta be security forces career field in order to work with K9. So that's like one of the minimum requirements, because we're like the only career field that actually uses dogs in the Air Force. So in the Air Force, you gotta be security forces member, right? He said 18 months of service as a rank of E3, which is basically just 2 stripes, you know. So 18 months of service, that's basically a year and a half. So depending on your contract, it'll vary from there. So now, in order to get into that career field of working with K9s, right, first you have to be, like I said, security forces, year and a half, like he said. Then once you hit that year and a half mark, then you can start looking into, you can start checking into your Air Force portal. You'll learn all about that when you go through tech school and basic and everything. But it's basically like our government website that like tells us about different jobs and things like that. So you basically go onto the Air Force portal, you go into the jobs and check, and you will find K9 there. If you find it, then you can actually apply and cross-train over. So it's sort of like, it's a minor reclass, but not too much, because your career field by trade will still be security forces, but from now you'll start working with dogs, right? So from there, once you do that, you apply to it and do all of that. Then you also have to talk to the kennel master at your base, things like that, and your squadron commander. And then, you know, once all of that is settled and everything goes through, you're good to go. You ship out. You don't actually ship out. What I mean is, like, you go back, so from wherever base you're at, whatever base you get, stationed at, you go back to Lackland to do your K9 training. So you actually have to go through tech school again for K9. Now, tech school for K9, I'm not too sure how that works. I'm not too sure how long that is. But that's basically where they teach you all the basics, what to do in this situation, what not to do, blah, 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 right? So once you do all that, then you either go back to your base or they might PCS you to a different base now to work with canines. So now when it comes to the canine, right? These, like the guy said, these are working dogs. These are not your play buddies. These are not toys or nothing like that. These are military working dogs. These are weapons. These are living weapons, basically. That's like the best way I could put it. These are living weapons. And like, hey, they're trained to attack, bite, and do a specific job. That's pretty much it. All right, so when it comes to the canines, you can't take them home with you. Like, you can't take them to the dorm if you live in the dorm still. If you off base now, you can't take them with you off base. The dogs, so the way that the dogs work, the dogs are assigned to each base at a kennel. So like, for example, so like my base, we have a kennel, and when I was talking to one of the canine handlers about it, she was telling me, she said, the dogs, they're assigned to whatever base that the dogs are assigned to, that's the base that they stay at. So say you're a canine handler, right? You get to your base, you get assigned a dog. So every day you gotta check on the dog, feed him. I'm not too sure if you actually wash them or not. That might be like somebody else's job in canine. But yeah, you gotta check on them, make sure they're up to, you know, up to standards physically. Feed them, and then you also have to do training with them, like a certain amount of hours per week and things like that. It's a lot of time that goes into working with canine and dedicating your time to that. But say that dog that you get, right? You've been working with that dog, you've been at this base for a year, another year and a half after, or however many, right? Use your imagination. Then you get orders to PCS. So you're moving from this base all the way to another base, right? So it could be across the world, could be a couple states over, whatever, right? When that day comes and you do have to PCS, the dog that you've been working with does not come with you. That dog stays at that base. So that's like pretty much like another thing. So you can't really get too attached to your dog, because if you PCS or you have to deploy, like you get orders to deploy and it's not canine duty orders to deploy, you're gonna deploy without the dog and you're gonna PCS without the dog. Which means when you get over to your new base, you have to get accustomed and to working with another dog that's there, and you know, vice versa and things like that. So now when it comes to the dogs, right, and canines, so when it comes to dogs working canine unit, there's not different types of dogs, but dogs are trained to do like specific things, like the main concepts. So dogs can be used as deterrents, if I'm saying that correctly. So what I mean by that is, like, you know, whenever somebody sees a dog, say somebody's doing a criminal act, you know, they get a little shaky, things like that, they sweat more, they're worried because like they're concerned about doing this thing and like not getting caught. So if they see a dog there and they got like crack cocaine or something in the back, you know, and that dog is trained to smell out drugs like that, that person is gonna get nervous, you know. So it makes them a deterrent. So it's like, it's less likely for people to do that if they see that there's dogs there doing checks, right? So we have dogs that are trained to sniff out drugs and any type of narcotics, things like that. We have dogs that are trained to sniff out bombs, dogs that are trained to attack in like different variations. So like, you know, if somebody's running, they can attack like that. If somebody's like locked in the car, dog will actually try to find a way to get in to attack. Yeah, and different things like that. So like they can be trained to just bite and like subdue the person, right? Or they can be trained to bite and kill. So it's very yeah, it's very not a pleasant thing, you know. And so dogs do things like that. So our dogs are trained to do things like that. That's why I say, like, these dogs are not a joke, man. These dogs are for real. They are working dogs. They are living weapons. They are not toys. Can't play with them and things like that. Speaking of which, so yeah, I'm actually gonna give you guys a story. and tell you what's going on with that. So, right, story time. So there was one night I was riding patrol, right, and I had to do a canine check. And so I'm looking in, I'm making sure that all canines are there in their kennel, that everything's locked up and stuff. I'm trying not to make too much noise to piss the dogs off. You know, door slams. I'm just like, oh, geez. I'm like, all right, I got this. Let me go look. All right, so I start doing my checks. I'm looking to make sure that no dog is loose. Because if dogs are loose in the kennel, then I got to notify the kennel master. I hear some noise, and I'm like, what the heck? And it's a dog out of the cage. I get attacked, and he starts biting on me, and I'm up there fighting the dog, fighting for my life, you know? And I'm just there going back and forth. And we just going at it. I'm up there, you know, fighting for my life against the canine and all. And nah, that's not what happened. Not at all. But it was sort of similar, but no. So I'm doing the canine check, right? I come in, so I'm like checking. All the dogs are locked up. Thankfully, I did not have to fight off a dog in there, because that would have just been, that would have been horrible. But long story short, right? So I'm doing the canine checks, and we're checking to make sure the dogs are good. And what they had us do was basically like wash out the dog's kennel or like cage. So like I got the big holes out, dragging it down the hall. And I'm just turning it on and now mind you, the dogs in there have never seen me before. So all the dogs are just barking like crazy, spinning in circles. I have no clue what that means. They were spinning in circles, but all I knew was if I get attacked, yeah, there's gonna be a long court order going on if I get attacked. There's gonna be a long court case. But that's basically that's basically it. Like the dogs, like they're very intimidating. Like I don't know any other way to put this. Like they're scary as shiz. Like there's no other way to put that, you know? Like these dogs are no joke. And like they're aggressive. They're very aggressive unless it's like their canine handler who they're used to, you know, because they work with that person every day. They're used to seeing their face every day. Me, I'm brand new. I'm like a new chew toy to them in there. So they've never seen me before, so they're just going off and they just see me coming at them with water. So they're spinning in circles and barking and, you know, charging the gate and stuff. And then there was this one in particular mutt. Oh my gosh. It was a little demon dog, man. It was one mutt. He was at the end of the kennel on the right. This guy, like, and I knew it was bad because this particular canine had a double latch on his cage. So I'm like, whoa. And like on the cage it says will bite, double latched. It was like make sure to double latch. I'm like, what is going on? So I'm like, what is going on? So I'm getting down closer to his cage, and the dog, I swear to you not, how do you say that? I swear to you not, I swear to you, whatever. I'm telling you the truth. Long story short, true story, man. This dog was doing backflips off the front of the cage, trying to kick the gate open. I was like, what the hell is going on in here? Like, this dog was literally, like this is the cage, I'm on this side, and the dog was literally, like, just biting at the cage, and, like it would jump and kick off of it, like, trying to kick the cage open. Like, doing backflips trying to kick the cage open. I was, like, I've never seen nothing like that before. So I got the hell up out of there. That was it. I just, you know, I took off. Like, I didn't want to deal with that, having to be attacked by a dog, and then I'm on the phone while I'm getting bit. I'm on the radio calling for backup, you know. So I'm just like, yeah, no. So I just did that real quick, and I got out. But long story short, that's just to say that, like, these dogs are no joke. Like, they always have to, like, whenever we did work with canines, when I was on a different shift, and we did have a canine with us that shift, they would give, like, the canine would have to give us, like, safety briefings. He would be like, hey, safety briefing, don't stand within, like, 5 to 10 feet of the canine. Don't open up any vehicles on his canine door. They have like canine specific built patrol cars. They said don't open up any vehicles, because if you open it and it's not him, the dog might attack you. Like it's just a lot. It was like the dog might attack you. He was like, if there is a loose dog around, he said the best thing to do is to not move, because dogs are trained to charge and attack anyone that's like running or fleeing from the scene. So if you see the dog and you just start taking off, oh, that dog's gonna take off with you, you know? So yeah, so they said don't do that. They said if you see a loose dog, they said make sure you stand still, don't do nothing, and try and get a hold of the contact handle. The contact handle. Try and get in contact with the canine handle, so that he can come and, you know, get the dog and stop him, do their little canine hush, sit, you know, I don't know, their canine stuff. Me personally, if there's a dog loose, yeah, I'm not gonna move, you know. But if he starts charging me, oh, I know I can't outrun a dog, but best believe I'm a, you know what I'm saying? Right when he go to bite, that's just me personally, cause like hey, what else am I gonna do? You know, like what else am I gonna do? But yeah, so to end it all off, that's pretty much the canine career field in the aspect. You know, it's a lot of time and dedication. Long story short, if you love dogs and you really want to work with dogs and that's a passion, go for it. I definitely recommend it. You go for that. You'll train and be with a bunch of different dogs. You'll be around a bunch of different dogs. We mainly just have one breed though, that like the Air Force chooses, because it's sort of like a middle ground of like an attack dog and like a dog that's good at like finding stuff, like scent wise. So they came to like a middle ground, and that's why we use like German Shepherds and mostly like those dogs that have that very distinct look. You won't find any other dogs, so you won't get like no poodle to work with if that's what you're expecting. No, you're gonna get like a middle ground of like a German Shepherd, and it was another name for it. I can't remember the other name, but yeah. So those are dogs. But if you like canine, I definitely recommend it. You know, do some more research. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll try and find out more about that, and then I'll come back to you guys. And if you have any other questions in general, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'm actually going to do a Q&A, so probably for like the next 2 to 3 videos that I'm about to drop after this one. I'm not going to answer your questions there in the comments, but I will do a Q&A to all of them and answer your questions then, so that way you have it like that. And yeah, so if you like this video, you found it helpful and entertaining, anything like that, you know, please like, subscribe, go check out my other videos, things like that. Once again, if you have any questions, any topics recommended, suggestions, anything like that you want me to make a video about or talk about, you know, leave it in the comments or message me directly on my social media accounts down below. They're going to be here and here. So my Instagram and my Snapchat. So go ahead and do that, you know, and hit me up anytime, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace. God's plan. I can't do this on my God's plan.